Hi everybody, today we are doing our first lesson in Microsoft Word. I am going to want you to open up Microsoft Word, so what I will have you do is open up Word. To do that, you're going to go down here to the Start menu, and you might see Microsoft Word show up here in your Start menu. Okay, you can see right here I've got Microsoft Word showing up. If you don't see Microsoft Word, there's a little search button right here, and you might have like an actual search bar that shows up. I'm going to type in just Word, and you can see that Word is the very first option that shows up. Go ahead and click that, and it will load Microsoft Word. Okay. Now the very first thing that shows up is kind of when you open Word for the first time, the Start screen is going to appear. From here you'll be able to create a new document, choose a template, and access your recently edited documents. Okay, so from the Start screen, let's locate the blank document to access the Word interface. So if you see blank document, just right here, go ahead and click blank document. This just creates a nice clean blank document for us. There's nothing on it, right? We can just basically start from scratch. Now, if we take a look around Word here, and I'm going to actually drag over this screen for you as well so you can see it. There's a couple of different buttons that I want to kind of point out to you, right? So the first one, and you guys don't have these plus signs. These plus signs here are just to show us what each thing is. If I were to click this plus sign, this is the Quick Access Toolbar. So the Quick Access Toolbar currently might not have a whole lot on it, right? You might have this Save button, you might have this Undo button, you might have this Redo button, okay? But this lets you access common commands no matter which tab is selected, okay? This button right here, so this is the ribbon. So this whole thing right here is the ribbon, okay? The ribbon contains all of the commands you'll need to perform common tasks in Word. It has multiple tabs, each with several groups of commands, right? So there's a Home tab, there's a File tab, Insert, Design, and so on. Each one, like if we were to go into Word here, we could click Home. It's got all these different commands, all these different buttons. Or to click Insert, it's got new stuff that I could click on, right? If I click the Design tab, it gives me basically design options of my Word document, right? So there's all kinds of different commands based on which tab you're in. This right here is the Tell Me button. Okay, this right here, it's basically like a search bar in Word that you can search different functions. This is Microsoft Account, right? So this right here is going to tell you what account you're logged into, if you are logged into account. Let's see, this one right here is the command group that gives you different commands, right? So like if you were to go into Word here, you'll notice how there's like a line right here and then a line right here. This right here is called the font command group, because you'll see there's the word font. All these commands have to do with editing your font in Word. All these commands right here have to do with editing your paragraph. So that's the paragraph command group. Okay. And then this area down here is the document pane. So all this current white space down here is the document pane. If you look here, this is the ruler, which actually the ruler might not show up for you yet, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit how to show your ruler. This right over here is called the scroll bar. This thing that drags your Word up and down the view. This down here is your page and your word count, right? So if you're typing up an essay or something like that, and you want to know how many words you have, that's going to show up right down there. Down here is the document views. So there's three types of document views that are going to show up. There's read mode, which displays your document in full screen. Print layout is selected by default. That's what I usually just go with. But you might change it depending on what you're working on. And then there's web layout, which shows how your document would look as a web page. And then this button down here is your zoom control, right? So like if you were to, so let's say I type something, right? Just something random. If I were to, I could scroll it by going back. I could zoom out, or I could zoom in, right? Or I could push the plus and minus buttons to zoom in and zoom out as well. Okay. All right. So working with the Word environment. Let me delete this good stuff here. The ribbon, this right here, uses a tabbed ribbon system instead of traditional menus. The ribbon contains multiple tabs, which you can find near the top of the Word. So we talked about all these different tabs, right? And all the different commands. But then also inside each command group, there's also a little arrow right here. If I hover over it, you see what the arrow is for. It's for font, and then it gives like a little shortcut key as well. Anytime you hover over something in Word, a lot of times it will give you like a description of it. So like if I hover over this B right here, it tells me, oh, that's going to make my text bold. A shortcut is Control B to make your text bold. So let's say I have some words written in here, and if I were to highlight this and then click this B, it makes it bolder, right? If I were to click it again, it undoes it. It makes it regular. Another thing then, if I'm hovering over it, it says Control plus B. Okay, what that does is that's a shortcut basically. So if I were to hold down the Control key on my keyboard and then tap B, you can see it does the same thing. So you'll notice that a lot of these functions have shortcut keys, right? So this I is italic. Control I makes my text italic. Control U is going to make my text underline. So there's a lot of different shortcuts where if you get comfortable with them, it makes things a lot easier and a lot quicker to do in Word. Okay, now if I wanted to show or hide this ribbon, there's a button right up here in the upper right. If I were to click that, there's a couple different options. The first one is Auto Hide Ribbon. It hides the ribbon, and I would need to click at the top of the application to show it. There's another one that says Show Tabs. First, let's just do that, right? If I do that first option, it completely removes it. I have to come up here and click, and then it shows it. Okay, and then if I click down here in the document again, it goes away. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of that, so let's see what else there is. There's also Show Tabs. If I do this, it says Show the ribbon tabs only. Okay, so you'll see only the tabs show up. Okay, again, I'm not a huge fan of that, but maybe you prefer something that's a little bit more minimalistic, right? If I click each of these tabs, that shows up again, and if I click in the document, it goes back to the minimum. Okay, I personally prefer to always just have everything show up. That's just how I'm used to it. Okay, but you can do whatever you want. Okay. The Tell Me feature. Okay. Trying to find it. Hang on, I just saw it a second ago. So you might see, hopefully, a Tell Me feature up here. For some reason, it's not showing up in mine. Maybe I have a slightly different settings than you, but you might see a Tell Me feature right up here. If you were to click on that, then you would be able to like enter in like a search of some sort. It basically just works like a regular search bar. You type what you're looking for and add a list of options, and a list of options are basically going to appear. You can kind of search some stuff. Okay. The Quick Access toolbar, again, is this area up here. It lets you access common commands. So like if I were to click this little box right here, for you right now, probably the only thing that shows up is save, undo, and redo. But then there's other stuff that you can include here. Right, so if I click this, there's all these different options. I almost always like to have print preview and print show up, just because if I click that, oops, I basically just unclicked it. That's this right here. If I click this, it basically brings up the print tab. It lets me see my whole document pretty much, and then it just gives me the option to print right away if I want to. I don't know why we have this. I don't know why we have the paste button. I don't think we need that, but that's okay. So that just basically gives you easy access to a lot of your different functions. The ruler. Now you'll see I have the ruler already. Okay, you might not. If you go into the View tab, underneath Show, there's basically 3 buttons right here that you can choose to click on and off. So right now, you probably don't have anything clicked, right? If you click Ruler, you'll notice there's a little ruler that shows up. And what this does is it just kind of lets you be more precise with how you're inserting things. You can also insert grid lines. I wouldn't really recommend that, but you can. And then there's a navigation pane as well, which shows up on the left. Okay, but again, that's completely up to you. So you got a ruler up here, and then there's also like a ruler that shows up on the left side. Okay, Backstage View. If you were to click on File, it brings this Backstage View up, right? What this button right here does is it basically goes back to your document. Okay, this New button is going to open up you can have the option to open up like a new document. You can open up a different template, things like that. You can open up a document that you have saved on your computer. Info is going to give you information about your other options you can do. Save is going to help you save your document. If you click Save for the first time, by the way, it's going to automatically go to the Save As button. This Print button helps you print. The Share option is going to give you options to share your account or share your document with other people, and so on. Okay. As far as document views, like if you notice down here in the bottom right, there's a couple of different views. You can change the view. If you click this first one, this is, again, if we hover over it, that's read mode. So basically it just gives you an option, like there's an arrow right here and over here. It basically, if you click on that, like if you have a multiple page document, it just lets you flip through the pages kind of like a book. This option right here is print layout. Okay, that's like the default view. That's what I always just go with. And here, this is like a web page type thing. This is a web layout. Okay. All right, so pretty much that's the basics of Word. So what I want you to do is in Canvas, there's something called the Microsoft Word Challenge. Pretty much you're going to have one of these, I'm not going to say every day, but almost every day that you have a Microsoft Word lesson. If you click on that, it's got a challenge for you to do. I want you to go through each of these steps and see if you can come up with the actual finished product that I have here. Okay, have a great day, and we'll see you later.